Hello and welcome. This is another video of the 1954 Corvette proposal prototype S.O.2151. These photographs were taken in GM's studio March 4th of 1954. The next photograph that you see, this is March 5th, 69 years later, 2023, at Amelia Island Concours D'elegance in Florida. The classification the car was in was Fiberglass Dreams Cars of the 50s. This is Bill Warner in the dark blue suit, and introduced me to the president of General Motors. Bill Warner is the founder of Amelia Island Concours, and that was early morning, Sunday, March 5th. It was an honor and a pleasure to have met both Bill Warner and the president of General Motors. He was very interested, both men were very interested in hearing the story of this car, the history, and seeing it for the first time. This was 2151's first public appearance since 1955. As I said, this was early Sunday morning. As you see in the interior, I had 10 photographs. These are all the studio pictures taken on March 4th of 1954. Represented what was the photographs taken at the time the car was displayed for management to see. This was the prototype for the 1955 Corvette. This is what the design studio, we went through Harley Earl's design studio, and this is what they wanted to present to management, to show one side looking different from the other, to see which side GM liked. Unfortunately, car sales were so poor, and the Thunderbird came out in 1955 and really hurt the sales of the Corvette. So they only made 700 of those, and they did not use this car. So history of this car kind of disappeared, not knowing what happened. Recently, I spoke with the owner of the dealership where it came from in Novato, California. That was Empire Chevrolet and owned by Richard Oldham. He found the car in San Diego in a barn, driving along, I think he said the 580, and seen some old Corvettes outside of a barn, and purchased the car from the guy at that time, then had it delivered and transported up to his dealership. This would have been 1974, and he only kept it for about a year, and of course sold it, advertised in Hemmings magazine for $3,500, and sold it to a gentleman in Oregon, and who kept the car for 40-some years until his passing. So you could see the crowd around the car. Spectators were astonished at the car. They'd never seen the car before, and me telling them that this was the first time the car's made a public appearance since 1955 blew everybody away. Had a tremendous amount of response about the car, lots of questions, and the amount of people, they had a record crowd of like 17,000 is what I heard, attendance. Which was a record that they said, and it was amazing. I'm going to kind of preset this up. I ended up getting an award for the car, and the car would not start. This car has never ever failed me to start in 3 years, and I transport it. It makes a 14-hour drive down here, trailered. I go to start it out of the trailer, and it will not start. Found out later, once it's back home, the points had gone bad in the car. So So unfortunately, I was not able to drive the car to the staging area at the platform where we received the award. Here you see the beautiful Bermuda green color. This was the original color that the car was painted in those black and white photographs. And it's just such ironic that the photographs, the 8x10 black and whites, were March 4th of 1954, and this is March 5th, 2023. So 69 years later, the car gets viewed and seen. So the car is just a beautiful styling exercise, as they called it. You know, trying to create something that they really wanted to do a facelift on the Corvette. So, but it was strictly a styling exercise, and for 20 years nobody knows what happened to it from the time it left GM. And there's my little dog. He kind of supervises and guards the rear end of the car. So, but the styling of this car was magnificent. Exhaust coming out the fenders versus the body on this particular car, and it looks great. I mean, it just would have been cool. Here I am being towed to the staging area to receive the award. So it really was disappointing it did not start, but you know what? It is what it is. I got pulled up there, and here's Bill Warner getting ready to announce and give me the award. Bill is just a wonderful individual, knows quite a bit of history of the Corvette. So in just a second here, you'll get to hear the award.
I don't know the answer to that question. Perhaps he would
No
ask
way.
that when he was
That just happened. Excuse me, everyone, if you could take a note. At exactly 3:08 on Sunday afternoon, Bill Rothermel was stumped for the answer for a question.
Stump the guy up here. I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, are we on number 35 now? 38. Sorry, everybody. Okay, the Founders Award in Class Fiberglass Dreams is this 1954 Chevrolet Corvette prototype S.O.2151, Billy J. Espich from New Palestine, Indiana.
This is a really interesting car. Hey, it's Bill Warner. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bill Warner, the founder of the Amelia Island Concours D'elegance. I didn't know you were going to sneak up on me there.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a perfect opportunity to ask the question, why did you choose this car? And I probably know the answer, but I'm going to let you answer.
Okay, first of all, I like Corvettes. I've had a 53, a 54. I got a new C8, which is fabulous. I mean, it's one of the best cars I've ever owned. But when you look at this tells you what was going on at the styling department. I want everybody to look at this car. It's asymmetric. In other words, the left side is different from the right side. They did the trim different. They were looking at eliminating the 13-tooth grill. They added a scoop in the back. And design was looking at where they were going in 55. Well, rather than building two cars, General Motors could save money by doing one side one way and one side the other, because no one's ever going to see two sides together, right? So take a close look at this. This is one of one, and Billy J. Restorations did it. I just think it's fantastic. Everything's hand-built on this car. Now, the interesting thing was, in 1954, there were 3 cars built for the Motorama. A lift-off hardtop with roll-up windows, which Corvette didn't have at that time. The Nomad, which was the Corvette Nomad, yes. And the third one was a Corvair. Well, this was the hardtop, and it was converted back by the styling department into the styling unit that you see here today. So he saved it. He found it. He found the colors of the car, the cream colors. So this was a very unique car, but they returned the windshield back to the original size, so you couldn't put the hardtop back on again. But this was a test for what the 55 was going to look like.
And you know what? You said that so much better than I ever would have.
Oh, no. I've been listening to you, Bill. You're great. I learn something new every day when I listen to you. Not with Justin, but with you, I do.
Well, that's a given.
Bill and I are not allowed to be around each other. We talk too much. Bill, it's so great to see you, and congratulations to Billy J. Espich, who is the owner of this particular car. I think something else while Bill's sitting there saying congratulations. The Corvette, when it came out in 53, they built 315 of them. In 1954, the car was in danger of being Ixnay. They were getting rid of the car. But Chevrolet built about 3,500 of them in 1953, the bulk of which sat on the lots unsold, and they were panicked. So in 55, the car got a V8, and the rest, as they say, is history. Great, great car, and it was great to see our dear friend Bill Warner up here.
The Amelia Island Award for...
Okay, after receiving the award, they pulled me back to my little area on the field, and here I'm videoing around the car. Very proud. I could not believe that I got the Founders Award to this car. It's just fantastic, winning the award, and the purple ribbon saying Specialty Award, which is just magnificent. It was worth the trip to come down here and for everybody to see the car and make a public appearance. There were so many, I think approximately there were 260 cars on the field. This was the golf course at the Ritz-Carlton in Amelia Island, Florida. There was such a collection of wonderful vintage cars. I mean, even new things from Rolls-Royce to 1925 Rolls-Royce. It was just amazing to see all the cars, some of the race cars, GT40s, Mark IIs, you know, Ferraris. I mean, it was awesome. But this car, there was a few other Corvettes. They had some race Corvettes there as well. But gee whiz, it's like it fit in with all these other cars that was there, so it's pretty neat. So even little dog had a good time too. So staying in the shade. Everything, you see the vintage motorcycles in the background. I had lots of questions, you know, when I'd raise up the hood and they would say, why is a 6-cylinder in the car when it shows the V8 emblems? Answering that question, again, for 55, they were going to put V8s in some of the 55 Corvettes. So this was strictly to show what the emblem was going to look like. So they put the V, you know, on the Corvette emblem. But still, this car had a kind of a prototype 6-cylinder. Which was a Sada lifter, date coded January. So there's the award on the back end of the trunk lid. And again, just a wonderful experience in receiving this award. The sign that I brought for the display. Underneath the car, here's some rare pictures, a glimpse of what it looked like underneath. This car is very original. I used probably 85% of the original nuts, bolts, the U-bolts for the axles, those shock bolts. This car underneath is all original frame, shocks, very original. So once again, I appreciate everybody watching this video, and thank you so much.